So we saw that there was the three big things recurring in the thread that you guys had posted. How can we be sure that you guys are going to do the game that you want to have and play and you guys take and not have a situation where we play the game and we're like, we don't like this? How, based further from the feedback, like what are you guys doing internally to make sure that this, what happened in Dragon Age 2 isn't going to happen to hypothetical Dragon Age 3, which happens next? Mark?
So I guess, no, you're good. Okay. So I guess what I'd say is watch what we're doing. Our policy is going to be to show you as we go. So I think is wait and see, pay attention to what we're showing you, and hopefully we can convince you that we're being more open, more responsive to your feedback.
Awesome, thank you.
But don't take my word for it.
So first off, I just want to say I love the Dragon Age series. I mean, I've been hooked since Origins and like everything you can slightly Dragon Age related. So you guys are great. My only thing I wanted to ask was, for most of Dragon Age 2, I really didn't feel that agency that, everything I was doing really mattered. But then the ending, it felt like all the stories I made got streamlined down into this one thing, and all of a sudden all that agency went away. Were you guys doing that with the storyline on purpose, or was that just like, we needed to get it out the door, or like, it felt like you were doing this, I can do everything and all of my choices matter, no matter what I do, there's this one possible thing.
Yeah, there was a mounting sense of, I think, inevitability in the storyline for DA, which ultimately with DA2, when you develop a free narrative, there's kind of an outcome that things are heading towards. And I think that, given a chance to do it over again, I think that on the way through that kind of third part, the post-champion part, we would have had more variety and more reactivity to the choices you made along the way. So the end result, I think, was that without that kind of wider experience, that it ended up kind of feeling very railroady as a result. Ultimately, I think it just boils down to that wasn't ideal. Sorry.
Thanks for taking the time to answer our questions here. Just want to think about the hypothetical Dragon Age game that could be happening. I was wondering what are the chances of seeing some sort of co-op multiplayer setting in that? Because it felt like Dragon Age or Dragon Age 2 would have been great. My friends all enjoy playing the games, we enjoy watching each other play the games. It would be great to have them hook up a controller or another PS3 and have them play with you.
So I would say that, let me put it this way. If we're going to pursue co-op, ever, where we would start would be to take a long, hard look at how Baldur's Gate did it, that shared experience with your friends, and make sure that was priority. Whether that's going to happen soon, in the future, at some point, I can't say right now that there are a lot of technical questions before that can really be answered. But that would be the approach we'd use. We've certainly talked about it, like, how would we do it? Would we do something like MAS? Which honestly is a very cool system. But I think that the big thing would be, take a look at Baldur's Gate, the kind of experience that that offered, where you can sit down with 3 or 4 friends over the internet and just pile through some adventure together, and make sure that we nail that. And then from there, I don't know, sky's the limit, I guess.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So in the previous Dragon Age games, there was sort of this thing where you could go on blood mage and use magic illegally in front of people who would arrest you for it. And they're like, okay, thanks. So I was wondering if there would be something like, you guys mentioned that you want to integrate the story more. But I was thinking, the story goes beyond just conversational. The story is who you make your character, what selections you made, where you fight, what you fight, those types of things. How much of that can be integrated into this type of Dragon Age game?
You're right. I think one of the plans, when I was talking about having more consequences for your choices, one of those consequences will be for the class you play, and particularly the specialization you play. A lot of it came down to was how much we can do for each specialization. And the hard part for something like Blood Mage specifically was that it has such a large presence in the world that belies the fact that it's just one of a number of specializations, right? So it was hard to do it properly, but what we would like to do is have each of the specializations be more special in terms not only of how you get it, but what happens once you've gotten it. So yes, I would say we're definitely looking at having more recognition by the world of things like idle language.
I'll be quite frank, and increasingly starting to feel like something we should be doing is making the specializations singular. So you have one, and you pick it, and that affects the outcome of your story, because it's the permutations and combinations of having like, okay, these two for this class, and how does that interact with my spirit healer, one mage, like myself, that kind of stuff. That means it tends to fall down. So I mean, you know, we may be exploring just bringing it down to one and having it have a greater impact as a result of that choice.
Hi, I come from the real life town of Crackle in Scotland. I wondered what made you leave Crackle in Dragon Age 2.
I'm sorry, there was feedback on that. I couldn't make out what you're saying.
I come from the real life town of Crackle in Scotland.
You guys have lovely scotch. we have a bottle in the office.
Which one, Scotland or Highland Park?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. It was just
So
really
what
good.
made you leave Crackle in Dragon Age 2?
Scotch. Something about it being on the map, you know.
First of all, I just want to say I love the writing. Oh my God, I love it. It makes me want to play a game all night long. My question was, what are the, I think the best way to say this and give you a kind of decent answer here. What are the chances, possibility, the probability of possibly seeing some of our favorite characters from the first two games maybe possibly joining our party in the next game?
Is there any reply better than possible? But I would say it's quite probable that stuff will be coming back and more than just cameos. I think.
I think if you're doing a follow-up, you want to have a mixture of the familiar, because you want to know you're playing a Dragon Age game, so you want to see these characters. Maybe some of them will be in the party. But then there's got to be a mixing for me as well. You don't want to just retread all around, especially if we're going somewhere French.
I just said that because I really enjoy the Mass Effect 3 and it really, it seems to put a lot more emotion and a lot more relativity with my characters and part in the game. Just want to say thank you. Thank you.
My question is about your NDA. Back in Netherlands and Knights, there was a small company called Rustmonkey by David Norton. Are you guys going to look at going back to that type of lifestyle for Dragon Age 3 hypothetically?
So, like moving back to art style?
Yeah, like Netherlands and Knights on PAX in Toronto.
I think, I don't know, change name on sort
I think we did an amazing job remarketing DA for DA2, and we definitely want to build on that.
Now there's a note there, I think, is that I think there's a bit of a confusion around looking at DA2 and thinking that that's the art style for the entire universe, when in fact, like for the environments, for instance, that's the art style for the free marches, or Kirkwall, or specifically to Vinter slave breaking camps. The lack of travel, the lack of seeing the different spaces means that there wasn't the kind of visual variety you saw when you moved between, say, the Southern Forest and down to Austin and so on. I think that's something we want to make sure we get back, so you can see how this art style expands across.
Hello. I kind of wanted to ask about characters and kind of character evolution and how, mainly kind of Anders, he's one of my favorite characters. Dragon Age, Awakening, and Dragon Age 2, they're kind of very different, and I'd like to know kind of how he got to where he was, and how other characters are going to change as the universe goes on, if they're like what things are going to affect them, and like happen to make them change who they are and where they're going to be.
I liked what happened to Anders. I think if I was to go back and do anything differently, developing the hindsight is always an option, obviously. But if I had to really go back, I think what I would have liked to have done is started in Act 1 and Anders that was a little bit close. Like, I mean, he had this big change. I'm sure everyone knows what it is. It's not a spoiler. He become one with Justice. Because we actually wanted to bring two characters forward, not just one. So I think if I went back, I started with an Anderson that's a little bit closer to what he was in Awakening, so the player could sort of be on the same sort of journey with him. I don't disagree with the idea that he made this journey, that he had become a different character and had developed, maybe not how a player who played Awakening might have expected. And I think that applies to the characters as well. Things are going to happen to those characters. Things are going to happen as a result of your choices that are not what you might expect. Some of them will be, some of them won't be. But I think we'll do our best to make them interesting.
Yeah, I would understand those kind of things. So we see that. Thank you.
Thank you.